Hey guys, gonna make another video going over my thoughts on Bitcoin on a shorter time frame, but also a longer time frame, going into the halving and post-halving and what I think is going to happen. Obviously, um, none of this is financial advice, but I might be reiterating some things that I've said in my previous Bitcoin video, but got some new people watching, so we'll just dive into it. All right, so I'll start with a short time frame. So let's take a look at the 8 hour here. Now we have resistance here. Okay, so 71.3. We've just been rejecting from it consistently. Um, we also have this was previous range highs. Okay, um, rejection, rejection, rejection. Flipped it to support, ran, deviated back down. Right, rejected, came back down again. Multiple rejections or bounces from previous highs, continued run, came back down, rejected again, and then so on and so forth. And again, a possible another deviation here. All right. So um, as long as we are under here, this resistance area, my thoughts are lower. Now, I'll explain on the macro side where I think we will go, but short term, um, there is possibility that we will have a bounce in this order block here. All right, so this order block is a potential bounce point. So this will be a scalp play. Um, you have easy invalidation, and right now, if we were to draw, you know, is this going to be an ascending triangle? Are we going to come back down here and possibly wick into here, reclaim or stay above this trend line and continue higher? But if you think you're going higher, this is going to be the area where we bounce from. Okay, this is also support, and then we have range lows down here. Okay, so 61 down to 60 point like 5K. Okay, so this is one setup, right? If you think we're gonna bounce here, and if I were to draw fibs and we draw it from here to those highs, right? It should possibly line up with a bounce point. So an entry would be around 66.950 with your stops below here. I wouldn't risk more than like 1 to 2% of your portfolio. And if you think we're going to highs, this is a bounce point, right? Otherwise, I see range lows being tapped again. Okay, we have liquidity in this box. So this may provide a bounce. Okay, we may go back up here to reject from the trend line, reject, confirm the downtrend, make another lower high here, and at that point you should have taken some profits when we're at resistance, like here's resistance. So if we go back up there, that's when you should take profits. And the second and third scenario are similar in a way, but also one's a confirmation play and the other one is a limit order. Okay, so you can bid range lows, right? We have proven time and time again when we are in a range, we're going to play range lows and short range highs. Okay, if this was your resistance level and your highs, but this is your original range highs, right? Like we had rejection, 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 and then once we flipped it, we long. Once we came back down, closed below, we shorted, and then again right here, shorted, and so on and so forth. So if you're going to set bids over at this level here with easy invalidation below that, and you're going to play the range again, right? You'll take profits at mid-range and range highs. Now this would be more of a swing play, but again, take profit as you see fit whenever you're happy with it and go on from there. Okay. Now the other scenario is a confirmation play. So we have liquidity here, right? You're looking for a sweep of these lows, meaning we come back down, right? We probably hover here for a little bit, get a little bounce. If you took this, it might bounce from there because we have support and range of lows here. But then we could have a capitulation wick such as this. It could, not be very fast, but could take some time to play out. Take these lows, right? Close back above, put in a swing failure pattern, and as soon as that happens, you could take a better risk to reward trade. And move this over a little bit. Okay. Better risk to reward if we take out the lows, close above, put in a swing failure, stops below whatever wick that was created, and then just go from there. Okay. But if we turn this range low into resistance, so if we continue to run and then further down, we have two areas that we are looking at. Okay. The first bounce point will come briefly around this level. Okay, why this level? It's a 4-hour demand zone. I've memorized all these zones on the charts, right? And just to show I'm not capping here. So we have a 4-hour demand zone that hasn't been tested. That's going to be the first bounce point, all right? Now, we go a little bit higher on a higher time frame. We have this demand zone here from 53 down to 50K. And then on the weekly chart, which I'll go over shortly, we have this demand zone here. So these are my levels that I'm looking at. Now, as I mentioned before in a previous video, and I'll go over this on the higher time frame, but we can have multiple dips over 30%. Okay, so don't rule those out. Now we go back on the shorter time frame. Okay, so we have three areas where we're looking for longs. One's here. One's a confirmation play with the sweep of the lows, and the second one is going to be limit orders with stops below the wick. Now these could be, pretty similar to one another. That's why I said like you're either waiting for this one to happen, or you could take this one, because if you take this one, if you take this one, right, and this one triggers, that means this one is stopped out, right? So two separate plays. You have this demand zone here, which is going to be another play, right? Stops below support. And then the weekly is a completely separate play as well. So these are the potential longs. Um, I'll tell you my thoughts going into the halving, what I think is going to happen. But on a lower time frame, this is what I'm looking at. Okay. Now, if you're looking, like what if we don't get any of these and we just continue to grind higher, right? Well, now you need to wait until this level of resistance here at 71.4-ish, right, is flipped to support before you long, okay? We've had like 7 or 8 rejections from here. It's possibly getting weaker. We have this ascending triangle pattern as well. You have targets of like 83K technically, right? And this is technical targets. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Um, so no longs until that level is flipped. Otherwise, we bid lower. As long as we're here, it's going to be a patience game. We could also, close below just like we did here. Go to a reject from this previous all-time or previous range highs, right? And then you could take a short scalp with stops above the wick. That one's a bit riskier. I would probably go to a lower time frame to find the stop loss. Nah, stop loss will be above the wick. So it'll be something like this if we reject, right? And then, it's going to go into your longs. That's when you hedge short or hedge long, move your stop loss to break even. But this one would be riskier. Not saying it's not going to happen, but just keep your options open, right? So that's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin on a lower time frame. There's multiple scenarios. I'm patiently waiting for lower, and I'll tell you why. Or if I'm going to buy higher, then I'm going to wait on confirmation. But ideally, ideally, okay, I would love for us to take out the highs. Okay, take out the highs and then dump from there. Right? This may come pre or post halving, but I don't think alts run until this happens. Right? Yes, you could say like, hey, is this a symmetrical triangle? Um, sure. It's not really a symmetrical, but sure. Right? But to me, and what I think is going to happen is I just think we chop around, and I think alts are going to be hard to play. So if you're playing alts, I think you should set limit orders 20-30% below, because you know with Bitcoin dominance going as high as it is right now, right? So we were in this range for a good amount of time, right? We had a little falling wedge that played out to the T, and then we retested the resistance and flipped it to support, and now we're going higher. Okay, I still think we go to 58%, which is going to be very, very painful for alts. Okay, so that's why I'm saying place your stink bids much lower, because I think we can get filled. I just don't know when. I think we can get a good 10 to 20% discount on alts. At that point, everyone will be like, "What the fuck? This is a bull market. Coins should be going up, right?" And then we have dips, and people give up, and then we absorb all those sells, and then continue higher. Now, I mentioned this before, and I'm going to show you here on this chart. Here's the little cheat sheet. I gave this to every one of my servers and on Twitter, but all right, we are bullish. Now this is only Bitcoin. I'm not talking about altcoins and stuff. This is only Bitcoin. As long as we are above this level, it's bullish, right? But we've had so many touches of the support. If we are below this level up until this range low level, expect chop, and we are bearish below. Okay. So you can stop this on the video, take notes. It's on my Twitter. If you're in the Discord, it's on Discord. But if we were to take a look at something on a higher macro time frame, okay? First of all, I'll reiterate this. Okay. Last bull cycle, we have had multiple dips of over 30% or at least 20%, right? So if we were to take a look at the March crash, right? And we just go from there. If we say like post halving, that's when we started to dip. Here's your first one. Here's your second. Right? Here is third. Here's your fourth. Right, we go up again. Here's your fifth. Now these are weekly time frames, but again, right? Here is your sixth. Here is your seventh, right? And then we have a dip again, 8, and then bear market. So if you want to consider this one as your ninth, by all means, 50% dump, and then higher, right? So here is 9 dips of at least 20, somewhere below that, but at least 20%, right? If you don't think this is going to happen during this cycle, then I don't know what to tell you. It might not be as drastic as those because of institutional backing and BlackRock and whatever, but we will still get dips. Okay. Now, bull market started at 25K. All right. If anyone says that bull market hasn't started, no. This is when the bull market started. This was our last. Well, here's our last lower high. We retested it. We broke out. We had a market structure break, and we've been in an uptrend ever since. Right. Double top, double bottom, and higher highs, higher lows indicate a structure change. Okay. Now, one thing that's interesting to note is if we take a look at altcoins made their all-time highs. Well, most of them did during the first cycle in this run here, right? They never reached their all-time highs here, right? Like if you take a look at Link and other coins, like they mostly happen on the first run here, right? What if, just what if, most coins hit their highs in this first run? And then we continue down, right? And we grind higher, but most coins don't hit their highs. Like, are you prepared for that? Right? Just it's just good to have different perspectives on different things, but keep that in mind, right? And then you're thinking, oh, like, I'm taking Link for example, but Link has, you know, hasn't even hit its local highs yet. Like local highs at 22. Well, Link down over here was at $4.50 to $5. It has gone up 6x, right? What more do you expect from coins to do? A lot of coins have done 10, 15x, right? And you're back holding and not taking profits, that's on you. But I still think we go higher on altcoins. Not every single coin, not every single last cycle Dino coin will see its highs. I have my bets on AI, gaming, RWAs, but what if most of these coins have exhausted their runs and that was it? Okay. Now, higher time frame. I mentioned that we have this weekly demand zone here, right? All these ICT fucktards think we get it, and by all means, if we get it, great, right? But let's take a look here. Okay, right. I'm sure on a higher time frame we put in a bearish divergence. Okay, but look, every time we've hit resistance at least 3 times, okay, we've had a move down. Now, as I mentioned, this order block was that daily um, demand zone that I had shown you, okay? But it's very well possible we can go here. Why here? Well, let's go to a lower time frame. So, if you guys have been following me for a while, Discord, Twitter, whatever, I mentioned that this was our resistance level, okay? I'm just going to draw it. Let's make it red. So this was our resistance level, okay? Rejections here, right? We went up, flipped it to support. Again, rejection, went up. We didn't really flip it, so this was just a deviation. And again, rejections. Once we burst through that 52K level, we made all-time highs, right? I mentioned this in the Discord. Now, we haven't retested that level. Why did I just fucking clap? No idea. But once we broke out, right, we retested it, went higher, right? Rejected, we broke out, failed to retest it, so it was just a deviation, came back down, rejected. What if we go back here and retest it, right? Like this, if we are able to retest that level, we still put in a lower high, or sorry, a higher low, okay? If we're talking about structures, right, and we flipped here, right, and this is, okay, we can still go down here and put in another higher low, also a double bottom formation, which makes sense, and then we continue to grind higher. I think we personally need to go lower to, shake out not only retail, but post halving here. Okay, I don't know exactly when it was, but right, we had an 12% dump before we rallied again. Okay, it doesn't mean we're going to dump 12% from here, but if we do, right, it's going to be close to range lows. So that's why I gave that range low play, and that's why I think we can get 61k or 61 or 58 to 61k. All right, but don't rule out this demand zone here. Don't rule out this weekly demand zone here. We can still go down to this weekly demand zone here. Hopefully, it's just a wick, and then we, come back up. I don't think we will have a fucking 10k wick into here and higher, but yeah. Um, anyways, I think we go lower. Um, if we go higher, altcoins won't really move. Right now, I think going into the halving, it's going to be a little chop fest in altcoins. So that's why I'm saying put your bids much lower. Damn, we took a huge dip right there. But if you guys are trading altcoins, then right now it's basically short every single bounce because Bitcoin dominance is pretty high. Bitcoin looks like shit, but I'm setting bids, 10, 20% lower, and hopefully they fill. And you just hold, man. Like there's no point in trying to trade this chop fest. You're going to blow all your accounts. It's just holding, and that's how you make money in a bull market. You buy the blood, and you just hold and sell when you're comfortable with profits. Trying to overtrade is going to get your account wrecked. But that's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. I still think we go higher. My timetable for possibly bull market end. Now we can't really time it, but I still think we have until end of year to mid year next year. That's when it ends. So capitalize as much as you can. Buy the blood if you are removing your bids lower, right? Because like let's say right now you have bids for Solana at, and I'm just only going over this coin, but you think Sol is going to, I don't know, 159 or 160, right? As Bitcoin gets lower and lower, you keep lowering your bids and it never hits. And in the first place, it goes to fill your original bid and then bounces higher, right? Don't do that. So set your bids, DCA lower, and then just chill, and you should make it. So don't overcomplicate things, and we will get our nice 20-30% gains coming soon, but right now it's going to be a chop fest. All right, so that's it for me and the short term and long term Bitcoin analysis. I'll see everyone in chats. Thank you.